Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are exploring a very interesting coin, the Australia 20-cent coin from 1981, especially one that appears rusted, blackened, and aged, yet still holds value and charm for collectors around the world. The Australian 20-cent coin has a rich history that connects deeply with the nation's decimal currency system, which was officially introduced in 1966. Since then, coins like this one have been produced by the Royal Australian Mint, known for its quality craftsmanship and iconic designs. By 1981, the coin had already become a common part of everyday life in Australia, used in daily transactions and widely circulated across the country. The 1981 Australian 20-cent coin features the famous platypus design on the reverse side, an animal that is uniquely Australian and symbolizes the country's natural heritage. Over time, coins that have been heavily circulated, like the one we are discussing today, often develop a darker, rust-like appearance. This blackened or aged look usually comes from environmental exposure, dirt accumulation, or oxidation effects on the surface. Even though the coin may look worn or old, being in fine condition still means that many of its design details are visible, which is important for collectors. Now let's talk about the background and composition of this coin. The Australian 20-cent coin is made from cupronickel, a durable alloy consisting of. This composition gives the coin its strength and resistance to corrosion. Although over decades of circulation, surface discoloration can still occur. The coin weighs 11.31 grams and has a distinctive scalloped shape with 12 sides, making it easy to recognize even by touch. This unique shape is one of the reasons why the coin stands out among other denominations. When it comes to collector demand, coins like the 1981 Australian 20-cent piece can attract interest depending on their condition, rarity, and overall appeal. While this particular year is not considered extremely rare, collectors still value it as part of a complete set or for its historical significance. Interestingly, some collectors are even drawn to coins with unusual toning or darker coloration, as it gives each piece a unique character. A rusted or blackened appearance might not reduce interest entirely. Instead, it can sometimes make the coin more intriguing. Talking about the current market value, a 1981 Australian 20-cent coin in fine condition with visible wear and some discoloration generally holds a modest value. In today's market, such a coin may range roughly between $1,048,000 to $1,075,000, depending on its exact condition and collector interest. If the coin has more appealing details, less damage, or unique toning, it might fetch slightly higher. However, if the wear is heavy and details are fading, the value may stay closer to its base collectible range. It's important to understand that coins like this are more about historical appreciation than high monetary value. For collectors, there are always smart ways to approach coins like this. It is always a good idea to store coins in a dry environment to prevent further damage. Avoid cleaning the coin aggressively because cleaning can actually reduce its value by damaging the original surface. Instead, preserving the coin in its natural state is often the best approach. Learning about coin grading and staying updated with market trends can also help collectors make better decisions over time. In conclusion, the Australia 20-cent coin from 1981, even in a rusted, blackened, or aged fine condition, still tells a meaningful story. It reflects decades of circulation, history, and the journey of currency through everyday life. While its market value may not be extremely high, its charm lies in its authenticity and connection to the past. For collectors, every coin like this is not just about money, but about history, passion, and the joy of collecting. Next up, today's topic takes us into the interesting world of Australian coin collecting, and in particular, we are going to talk about the Australia 20-cent 2001 coin, especially those old circulated pieces that show rust, green toning, and a fine used condition. Even coins that look worn or slightly damaged can still hold a special place in the eyes of collectors, and sometimes they carry more story than shine. To begin with, the Australian 20-cent coin was first introduced in 1966 when Australia decimalised its currency. The 2001 issue belongs to a modern period of the coin's journey, but it still carries the same iconic design that collectors recognize instantly. The reverse side features the famous platypus, a unique Australian animal that symbolizes the country's rich wildlife heritage. The obverse carries the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, reflecting Australia's connection to the Commonwealth during that time. The composition of the 20-cent coin in 2001 is cupronickel, which is a mixture of copper and nickel. This alloy is known for its durability and long life in circulation, but over time, exposure to moisture, air, and environmental conditions can sometimes cause discoloration. That is why some coins develop rust-like stains or a greenish tone, especially if they have been stored in less ideal conditions. While this may reduce their visual appeal in uncirculated standards, it can also make them interesting for collectors who study circulation history and natural aging effects. When we talk about collector demand, the 2001 Australia 20-cent coin is not considered extremely rare in general circulation grades. However, demand can increase when coins show unusual characteristics, mint errors, or unique toning patterns. Coins that have natural green or rust-colored oxidation sometimes attract hobby collectors who enjoy story coins rather than perfect specimens. These coins often represent real-life circulation history, which makes them meaningful in a different way compared to shiny mint state pieces. Now coming to the current market value in dollars, meaning around 20 cents in everyday use. However, in collector markets, depending on condition and appearance, to around $145,000 to $1,088,000 for mildly interesting circulated examples. If the coin has unusual toning, rust patterns, or is part of a collector set interest, it might attract slightly higher attention, but it is important to understand that it is not a high-value rare coin in normal conditions. Its true value often lies more in collector interest and sentimental or historical appreciation, rather than high monetary worth. For collectors who are interested in coins like this, there are a few helpful ideas to keep in mind. It is always good to handle coins carefully, preferably by the edges, to avoid adding fingerprints or damage that can affect their surface. Storing coins in dry, cool environments helps prevent further corrosion or green spotting. Even if a coin already shows aging, keeping it stable ensures it does not deteriorate further. Many collectors also enjoy organizing coins by year and condition, which helps in tracking small variations that may become more interesting over time. It is also worth remembering that coin collecting is not only about high value or rare finds. It is also about history, art, and the connection to a country's past. A coin like the 2001 Australia 20-cent piece tells a small story of everyday life and circulation, passing through thousands of hands before reaching a collector's album. In conclusion, the Australia 20-cent 2001 coin in rusted or green fine condition may not be a high-priced rarity, but it still holds value in the world of numismatics for its history, design, and circulation journey. Its worth in dollars may be modest, but its importance to collectors lies in its story and authenticity. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced collector, coins like this remind us that every piece of currency carries a small piece of national heritage, making coin collecting a truly meaningful and enjoyable hobby. Next up, today's video takes us into the fascinating world of Australian decimal coinage, focusing on a coin that many collectors overlook but experienced numismatists truly respect, the Australia 20-cent coin from 1967 in very fine condition, and what it is worth in today's market. When we talk about this coin, we are stepping back into a very important period in Australian monetary history. The year 1966 had just marked Australia's official transition to decimal currency, replacing pounds, shillings, and pence with dollars and cents. By 1967, the system was still relatively new, and the Royal Australian Mint was refining production standards and coin distribution. The 20-cent coin became one of the key denominations in everyday circulation, designed to be practical, durable, and easily recognizable. The 1967 Australian 20-cent coin carries with it the early identity of Australia's decimal system. In very fine condition, it means the coin has seen circulation, but most of its major design details are still clearly visible. You can still observe the outline of the platypus design on the reverse side, which is one of the most iconic and unique animal representations in world coinage. The wear is present, but not heavy, giving the coin a respectable appearance that collectors can appreciate, especially when compared to heavily worn circulation pieces. To understand this coin better, it is important to look at its background and composition. The Australian 20-cent coin, introduced in the late 1960 ESCs, was struck in a copper-nickel alloy, which gave it strength and resistance to wear. This composition was chosen to ensure the coin could survive long-term circulation without quickly degrading. The weight and size were carefully designed so it could be easily handled in everyday transactions, while still maintaining durability. The design itself features Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse side, reflecting Australia's constitutional monarchy at the time, and the detailed platypus on the reverse, symbolizing Australia's unique wildlife heritage. Collector demand for the 1967 Australian 20-cent coin in very fine condition remains steady but not extremely high in the mainstream market. However, within specialist Australian coin collecting circles, early decimal coins hold historical significance. Collectors who focus on date runs, mint history, or condition-based grading often seek these coins to complete sets. While it is not considered a rare coin in general circulation terms, its value increases when it is preserved in higher grades or when it comes from well-kept collections rather than heavy circulation finds. Now, when we talk about the current market value in dollars, a 1967 Australia 20-cent coin in very fine condition typically ranges depending on demand, eye appeal, and exact grading standards. In general, such a coin may be valued at a modest price, often around a few dollars, up to approximately $2,045,000 to $75,000 in collector markets. However, it is important to understand that pricing can vary between online auctions, coin dealers, and private sales. Coins with better strike quality, cleaner surfaces, or strong details may achieve slightly higher values, especially if buyers are actively completing collections. For collectors who are just starting their journey, this coin offers a great learning opportunity. It is widely available, which makes it ideal for studying grading differences and understanding how condition affects value. One useful tip is to always handle coins carefully by their edges to avoid fingerprints or scratches, as even small marks can reduce collector appeal over time. Another important suggestion is to store coins in protective holders or albums, as environmental exposure can slowly affect surface quality, even for copper-nickel coins. It is also wise for collectors to learn basic grading standards. Understanding the difference between fine, very fine, extremely fine, and uncirculated conditions can dramatically improve your ability to assess value correctly. Many beginners underestimate how much condition influences price, but experienced collectors know that even small differences in detail sharpness can change a coin's worth significantly. In conclusion, the Australia 20-cent 1967 coin in very fine condition represents more than just a small piece of currency. It is a symbol of Australia's transition into the decimal era and a reminder of how everyday money becomes history over time. While its monetary value today may not be extremely high, its historical significance and collector interest keep it relevant in the numismatic world. For anyone building an Australian coin collection, this piece is a solid and meaningful addition that reflects both national heritage and the evolution of modern currency.